Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss the solution for rooftop. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. All right. So in this question, we have been given an array which represent height of consecutive building. So let's say this is my array. These are my building. Building. Okay. These are my buildings, and what it contains is the height of these buildings. This zeroth building has one floor. One building has four floor, two building has five floor, three number of building has two floor, four has three, five has two, six has four. So the array represent the height of the buildings. Okay. Now what we can do is we can move from roof of a building to roof of next adjacent building. So what it means is if I'm at this step, this building, sorry, what I can do is I can jump to next adjacent building. Okay, I jumped from one floor building to four floor building. Okay, I'm jumping from such height, so I must be a superhuman, Spider-Man, or maybe a Superman. All right, so like this, I'm jumping floors, leaping over the floors. So I can move like this. All right, not in real life, but in this question I can do that. So that's how I'm doing. What I'm going to do is I can move from roof of building to roof of adjacent building. So that's what I'm doing. I'm moving from one roof to another roof. All right. So this is the second point. Now third point says that we need to find number of maximum number of consecutive steps that you can put forward such that you gain an increase in altitude of each step. So let's define a step. All right. If I'm moving from one place to one building, jumping from one building to another building is a step. This is also a step. This is also a step. But which is the valid step in which I gain an altitude? So what we mean by gain an altitude or increase in altitude? So for example, let's say if I jump from here to here, if let's say I'm at the one floor building and I'm jumping to a four floor building, what's going to happen? If I'm at 10-meter of height, I will reach 40-meter of height. If I reach 40-meter of height, what's going to happen? I have increased in my altitude has been increased. If I'm experiencing increase in altitude, so what I have to do, I'm going to count this as a step. Okay, so I jump from here to here. This is one step. Here to here. This is also one step. Now I've jumped from five floor building to a two floor building. So this won't be a valid step because what I have defined as a valid step is that in which I have gained some altitude. I'm losing my altitude here. So what's going to happen? I'm not going to count this as a valid step. But when I jump from two floor building to a three floor building, what I'm experiencing gain in altitude. So I'm going to count this as a valid step. Like this is not a valid step. This is I'm going to count as valid step because I have increased altitude. So these are the steps that we are going to take. The steps with which we can increase our altitude. Now, what we need to find is maximum number of consecutive steps. So I'm jumping from one building to another building, and sometimes I gain steps and sometimes I don't. So what I'm going to do is I need to count these valid number of steps, and these are the two consecutive number of steps. So two consecutive number are present here. One consecutive number of steps is present here. Another one consecutive number of steps are present here. So these are the consecutive number of steps. We are going to get 2, 1, 1. Okay. So among these, who is the maximum? So what we are going to do, we are going to return 2. Alright. Now the problem is, how can I find number of consecutive steps? Okay, so let's take our building somewhere else. Okay. All right. So here are my buildings. Now what? I'm starting from this building, 0th building. Okay. Now you must be wondering that I can jump from one roof to another roof in the adjacent building. Isn't it possible that I can actually jump from 6th building to 5th building, then 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and then 0? All right. If we will do that, uh, let's count number of consecutive steps. Okay, so from 4 to 2, what we get is 0, because we are not gaining an increase, we are not increasing our altitude, so we get nothing. From 2 to 3, one step is gained. From 3 to 2, nothing is gained. From 2 to 5, we gain altitude, so we get one consecutive number of steps. 5 to 4, we are losing altitude. 4 to 1, we are losing altitude, so we don't get any kind of consecutive number of steps. So you can see that we get 1 and 1 number of consecutive steps. But if you will look at in the sample output or a sample input, you will find that our answer is 2. Okay, so if our answer is 2 there, it means that we are moving only from left to right, not right to left. Okay, so that's one part. Now let's say I'm going to jump from this building, jump this building from left to right. So first of all, what we understand is we are going from left to right. So this is me, and I'm going from left to right, jumping like this. So first of all, we need to write a loop. So what from where my loop should start? From 0 till 6. Okay. Oh, so I equals to 0 and I less than. Okay, we have 6 here. If you will count the number of building, this is 1 building, 2 building, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 number building, so we can say that I should be less than number of building minus 1. We have 7 building, so we have moved from 0 to 6. Alright, so we are going to move like this. Now we can move roof to roof after writing this for loop. Now what I need to do is I need to count my number of steps and find which of them is maximum. So what I'm going to do is, first I need a variable which is going to store my current number of consecutive steps. So let's say step, and now I will need another variable which is going to store the maximum number of steps. This is going to step variable is going to store current consecutive. Okay. Oh, all right. So step is going to store current number of consecutive steps, and max step is going to store maximum. Right. So let me remove this. Now I need to check if I will gain altitude or not. So I'm jumping from 0 to 1. and I need to check if I'm gaining altitude or not. So what I'm going to do is going to check if current, I'm storing all the heights in an array. So I'm going to say array of I should be less than array of plus 1. Now you can see why I'm at this position and I'm jumping from 0 to 1. If I'm gaining altitude, it means my this one value should be greater than my current value. So this is my valid step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write step plus plus or step plus 1. Okay. Again, 4 to 5, we are gaining altitude. So we are going to increase the number of consecutive steps. Alright. Now, when we reach this position, 5 position, I need to jump from here to here. Now you can see that I'm not gaining any altitude. See, this condition is not being fulfilled. So in this case, what's going to happen is I'm going to write a else loop, else block. So in else block, what I'm going to write is I need to check if my current number of steps is greater than maximum number of steps. So currently my maximum number of steps was 0 and consecutive current number of steps, current number of consecutive step is 2. So I'm going to write if step is greater than max step. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace max step with number of consecutive steps currently. Alright. Now I'm going to move from 2 to 3. Alright. So 2 to 3 will mean that I have gained one step, one consecutive step. So if I will move from this to this place from 3 to 4, I need to increase my number of steps to 1. But we haven't declared done anything to do that. So what I'm going to write is step equals to 0, because if I won't do this, what is going to happen is number of steps will keep on increasing. From here I had two consecutive number of steps, and if I won't do this, what's going to happen is it's going to add 1 is going to be added because of this step plus plus 2 plus 1 3, but there are no number of consecutive steps. All right, so what we need to do is we need to reset our step to 0. Currently we don't have any consecutive number of steps. That's what it is showing. All right, now 3 to 2 again. Now we have decreased altitude, so else case will run. Our current number of steps was 1 and your maximum number of steps became 2. So is 1 greater than 2? No, it is not. So max step will remain as 2 and step is going to be reset as 0. Now from 2 to 4, we gain 1 step according to this. Alright, so this is it. Now we don't have any building. So from this point, we can't check anything. So don't you think we have written something wrong here in our for loop? Yeah, we have written something wrong. We are running our loop till 7th building or 6th index. If I will write this, I plus 1 equals to 7. There is no building with 7th index. So this is going to give me array out of bound exception. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run my loop from this point, 5th index. So I'm going to write number of building minus 1 Okay, I have written true condition here. Number of building minus 1, not I less than number of building. So this is it. I must have said something different when I was writing the solution. Okay, so our loop will end at this, and our else case is not going to run. Say uh, if I will have instead of 2 here, consider the case in which I had 4 here, this is 4 and this is 5. Now my loop is going to end at 5 in this case also. So if I will count my number of steps from here to here, 1 step, from 3 to 4, 2 steps, 4 to 5, 3 steps. Okay, I got 3 steps, but my loop has ended here at this point, and my loop is not going to run for this. I have currently 3 number of consecutive steps, which should be my answer, but see, and I'm not checking for this condition when for updating my maximum step condition. If step is greater than maximum step, max step equals to step. I'm not checking this when my loop is ended. So my step surely has become 3, but I am not updating my max step. So after the for loop, I need to write this same condition. If step is greater than maximum step, then max step should be equal to step, and we should return maximum step. That's it. This is the final condition. So let's code it. So let's see how we can code this. Okay, so first of all, what we need is max step. Initialize it with 0, then number of consecutive steps currently. So step. Okay, so for loop for I equals 0, I less than arr dot length minus 1 I plus plus. Now first we need to check our altitude with the altitude of next building. So if arr I is less than arr I plus 1, okay, this is the case, then I need to increase my current number of consecutive steps. This was not the case, then what we were doing, we were just checking if step is greater than max step, and if this was the case, then max steps were replaced by step, and we need to reset our step to 0. Our for loop is done. Okay, now one important thing we were missing was this. If step is greater than max step, then max step is equal to max step is equal to step. And why we were doing this? We were doing this because after the for loop, we have some number of consecutive steps that we haven't checked. So for this, we are doing this if block. Okay, now we are returning max step. Now let's run it. Okay, so it's been accepted for input test case and submit. All right, we got 10 out of 10, which means that our code is perfectly right. So now let's talk about its time complexity. Okay, so hey, you can see that I'm running my loop only one time for each element. Okay, so if you will look carefully, I'm running this loop and minus 1 times. Okay, so my time complexity should be O of Alright, you can see that I'm doing minus one number of times some constant task. So my time complexity is linear time complexity. And you can see that I haven't used any extra variable except these two variables, which is nothing but constant space. So my space complexity is going to be O of 1, meaning constant space complexity. So it means that uh, uh, our function has time complexity of O of n and space complexity of O of 1. So I hope that you must have understood what was in the solution for rooftop, and I hope that you have understood it. So it means that a function's time complexity is linear time complexity and space complexity is constant space complexity. So that's all for this video, and I hope that you have understood this question well and you are able to try it again. So good luck for that trial and see you in the next video.